It's that time of year again. The leaves are falling, the nights are getting colder, and something about October just makes the air feel heavier. Tonight I've got 3 true horror stories sent in by viewers, all happening during the fall. Each one is different, but each one will make you double-check the locks on your doors tonight. So get comfortable, keep the lights low, maybe grab a blanket, and let's dive in. Story 1, The Woods Behind the Cabin. This first story was sent in by a viewer named Alex. Alex writes, I've always loved the fall. Every October, my friends and I rent a small cabin upstate New York. It's secluded, quiet, perfect for hiking and chilling out. But last year, something happened that completely changed my mind about going back. It started like any normal Friday night. My friend group arrived late afternoon, unpacked and settled in. By evening, the sun had gone down, and we lit a small fire outside. We laughed, drank hot cider, told the usual spooky stories. Nothing unusual. Around 10 p.m., one of my friends, Mark, suggested we go on a short hike behind the cabin. The trail was dimly lit by the moon, leaves crunching under our feet. We joked about the classic horror stories of the area. The cabin had been there for over 50 years, and rumors said someone had disappeared in these woods decades ago. I should have stopped them. I should have said no. But I didn't. We walked maybe half a mile when we started noticing strange things. The air got colder, the wind picked up, and at first we thought it was just the weather. Then we heard it, a snapping branch behind us. Not one of our, someone else's. We stopped. My flashlight barely cut through the fog. Mark laughed nervously, saying it was probably a deer. But then we heard footsteps, slow, deliberate, following ours. We ran. No one talked, just sprinted back to the cabin. When we got inside, locked the doors, and tried to calm down, my phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. I see you. Nobody else got a text, only me. And it had been sent from a location just a few hundred feet behind the cabin. We called the local police the next morning. They searched, found nothing. No one in the woods. No footprints other than ours. But Alex says every year since, when he walks in the woods alone in the fall, he swears he hears footsteps following him, and he never goes back to that cabin at night. Story 2. The Disappearance in Small Town October. This story came from a viewer named Jenna. I grew up in a small town in Vermont, population less than 2,000. October nights there are quiet, too quiet sometimes. My story's about my neighbor, a boy my age named Tyler. He vanished one October night a few years back. It started with him leaving his house to walk his dog. That night it was cold. The kind of cold that makes your nose burn and your breath fog up. His parents told him to be back in 30 minutes. An hour passed, then 2. By the time his mom called me, it was 10 p.m. I'd known Tyler since kindergarten. I volunteered to help search. We went up the trail behind our neighborhood, the one that led to the old abandoned mill. That's when I saw it, a single flashlight in the distance, moving, but not like someone walking. It darted in ways that didn't make sense, appearing and disappearing behind trees. I called out, but no answer. We searched all night. Police arrived in the morning. No sign of Tyler, not even his dog. The next day, some of us went back to the trail. I swear the flashlight moved again. And from that night onward, people in town claim the forest behind the mill is cursed, that something in the fall comes out when the nights are cold. Tyler's parents eventually moved away. The trail still exists, and people still whisper about a boy's disappearance every October. And every time I walk by that forest, I get chills, because I feel like someone is watching me. Story 3, the haunted house on Maple Street. The final story is a paranormal one, sent in by a viewer named Samuel. I live in a town in Pennsylvania. My street, Maple Street, is quiet, lined with old trees that turn bright red and orange every fall. But there's one house, the old Whitmore house at the end of the street. It's abandoned. Everyone knows it. No one dares go in except me. I didn't believe in ghosts until that October night. It was about 9 p.m., a Friday. The wind was strong, rattling the dry leaves on the ground. I dared myself to go in. The front door creaked when I pushed it open. The air inside smelled of mildew, dust, and something metallic. I explored for maybe 15 minutes. Every floorboard groaned. Every shadow seemed to stretch toward me. Then I saw it. A little girl standing at the end of the hall, pale white dress, eyes dark, empty, staring straight at me. I froze. My phone was dead. No signal. The door behind me slammed. I couldn't move. The girl tilted her head, and a whisper floated through the room. "Don't leave." I bolted, ran straight out of that house, stumbled over the steps, and didn't stop running until I reached my own street. I looked back. The lights in the Whitmore house flickered on, then off. No one was there, but I swear, she followed me. Every October I drive by the house, the leaves are falling, the nights are cold, and I can still feel her watching from the window. October is a month of change, of cold nights and falling leaves. But it's also a month when fear seems closer, when shadows feel longer, and when the world feels just a little more alive. Tonight we've heard 3 stories, 2 real encounters, one that chills to the bone. If you live in a small town or wander in the woods, or ever pass a haunted house on Maple Street, remember the cold October night can hide things you don't want to see. If you enjoyed these stories, subscribe to Ghostly Hour for more real horror stories sent in by viewers like you. And remember, check your locks tonight. You never know who or what might be watching. Stay safe and stay spooky. It happened one cold October night. The kind of night where the air bites your skin, the streets are empty, and even the sound of the wind feels like a whisper. I've lived in this town my whole life, but what I saw that night made me wish I'd never left the safety of my house. I was 19 then, coming home late from my part-time job at a diner on the edge of town. It was around 11:45 p.m. when I parked my car on Maple Hill Road, a narrow street lined with old trees that looked almost skeletal against the sky. My house was about a 5-minute walk from where I parked. Normally that walk didn't bother me, but that night it felt different. The street lights flickered, the wind carried that dry rustling sound of fallen leaves being dragged along the asphalt, and the air had this heavy, electric chill to it. I started walking faster, hands deep in my jacket pockets, trying to ignore the feeling that someone was watching me. Halfway down the street, I noticed something. Movement in the woods to my left. I stopped, listening. At first, it was just the wind. Then, crunch. Footsteps. Slow, measured, matching mine. I turned my phone's flashlight on and aimed it toward the trees. The light hit fog and nothing else. Just silence. I laughed nervously and told myself it was probably a raccoon or deer. But then, another step, closer this time. I started walking again, faster now. My shoes hit the pavement, leaves crunching underfoot. The sound followed. Every time I sped up, so did it. I could hear breathing, faint but real. When I reached my driveway, I glanced back. Nothing but darkness. No movement. No sound. I unlocked the front door, stepped inside, and locked it immediately behind me. That should have been the end of it, but as I turned off the porch light, I saw it. Someone standing just beyond the edge of the streetlight, a tall figure, still as a statue, head tilted slightly, watching my house. I froze. The figure didn't move, didn't make a sound. After what felt like forever, I backed away from the window and went upstairs, trying to convince myself it was just a trick of the light. I barely slept that night. The next morning, I checked the security camera by my driveway. At 12:02 a.m., you can see me walking to my door, looking around, clearly nervous. And then 15 seconds later, the camera picks up a shape stepping out from behind a tree, tall, pale, wearing what looked like a mask. It stood there for nearly a minute, just watching my front door. When the motion light turned on, it didn't run. It simply stepped back into the woods and disappeared. I showed the footage to my dad, and he called the local police. They searched the area, but there were no footprints, no signs of anyone there. The fog had covered everything. That was a year ago. Since then, every October, I swear I see that same figure across the street, just for a moment, standing between the trees as the wind picks up and the air turns cold. Sometimes late at night, I still hear the crunch of footsteps on the road outside my window. And every time I look, there's no one there. So if you ever find yourself walking alone on a cold October night and you hear footsteps that don't belong to you, don't turn around. Just keep walking, because some things follow you home and never leave.